Today's reading is from Why is Love Much More Precious? By True Father. Why is love much more precious than life? You must know that love is very precious because men and women have value only when they have love. Love can make a treasure out of a man and a woman. No one can argue that diamonds and gold and pearls are very precious, but in the presence of love, a person becomes more precious than any of them. Would you prefer to have the man you love or have the most precious jewels in the world? You would choose a loving husband because once you and he become completely, ideally one, the whole universe will move around you and God will surround you. Love is 1,000,000 times more precious than diamonds, and it has the energy to move everything, even God. Love can be expressed with great volume or in total silence. Sometimes even your mouth might not move, but your mind keeps talking, which is deeper. When asked how love looks, one person will describe love as being round like the moon or wide like the ocean. Some harsh person might say, it is like a beautiful rocky mountain, while yet another person might say, it is powerful like Niagara Falls. All these would be correct answers because they all describe certain aspects of love. Someone might say love is like a beggar, and that is a correct answer also. That is why love is intriguing. Aju.
Good morning. You have a beautiful day today, right? Are we doing okay? Okay. The crowd looks good today. So I'm sure like me, you all have been hearing lately a lot of talk about American values and American traditions. You know, I've heard most of the talk that I've heard about American values and traditions have been from people who don't know what America's values and American traditions are. Sometimes I hear politicians talking about our traditions being democracy and freedom and tolerance. I think that's nonsense because America is a Christian nation. America was founded on Christian ideals and on Christian thinking. Democracy, freedom, tolerance, these are the results of being Christian. These are not our tradition. These are the results of being Christian. James Madison, one of the founding fathers of America, famously said, democracy only works with a moral people, a righteous people. But the Christianity in America is dying. The churches are not full of people. Some are, but most aren't. If you go down on Sunday morning, you find 10% of the people in the church. You go out door to door, you'll find 90% of the people are in their homes. That doesn't mean they don't believe in God, but they are not going to church. So the question is, and the title of the sermon is, why don't folk go to church? Why don't people go to church? Everybody here have a job? Everybody here loves their job? Boy, I like to talk to honest people. That makes our conversation easier. I know you don't like your job, but you go to your job. Why do you go to your job that you don't like? Because you got some benefit there, right? You want that paycheck. That's a benefit that you want. More than you dislike going to work, you want that paycheck. Why don't folk go to church? They don't know what the benefit is. They don't feel any benefit going to church. They don't see the benefit going to church. They don't believe that there's any benefit to praying in school. Remember that in the old days? So we outlawed school prayer. We don't pray in school anymore. They don't see any benefit in following the doctrine, the constitutional doctrine of the separation of church and state. It was meant to keep the state out of the church. Don't let the state politicize churches. Instead, they use it to drive the church out of the state. Don't bring church into state. So the Democrats just this last week introduced legislation to remove the words, "So help me God," from the swearing in of the oath of office. They want to they don't want the words in there, "So help me God." Why don't they want people to say, "So help me God"? They don't want God to be part of that government. Okay, when Christ is kicked out of the government, what are you going to get? Well, let's look at what we got. How about the new family, the alternative family? Of course, the Bible traditionally described the family as husband and wife and children. But without Christ, we have a new family. Husband and husband, or husband and guy, or woman and woman, guy and dog, and who knows what other kind of families they have. Everything, when they legalize gay marriage, they legitimize this kind of relationship. Any kind of relationship is a family. So these people are allowed to adopt children and raise children in a family of a father and a other guy, thing, whatever he is. The new morality. When you take Christ out of government, you get the new morality. The new morality says that free sex should be safe sex. Doesn't say free sex is not good for people. The new morality says free sex should be safe sex. So the government hands out condoms so that you can have safe sex, so you can destroy your capacity to have a relationship with another person on a deeper level. The government improved morality leads us to what? Your free sex leads to what? The New York abortion law. You've all heard about that, where abortion is so important to these people that they want abortion to be legal, and is legal now, even if the mother, at the point of even giving birth, you can still have an abortion. Of course, when abortion first started, they explained that a clump of cells is unrecognizable as a human being. It's not a human being, and it's not viable, so having an abortion is not killing anybody. But that clump of cells now becomes a about to be born baby. I guess it's not recognizable as a human being yet. It's going to be born in a couple of minutes. I guess it can't survive on its own. What's the next step? 6 weeks is okay. 6-week-old infant is okay. 6-month-old. When you have no Christ in the government, that's your tradition. What else do we get? How about legalizing marijuana? Let's legalize marijuana. Everybody does it. What's next? What else is everybody doing that we can legalize? I grew up in a society, I grew up in a culture where everybody used drugs. Everybody except one person I know was using drugs. That was me. Everybody else used drugs. So I saw a lot of death. I saw a lot of destruction before I joined this church. We can talk about these things a long time. I had a conversation the other day with a young man while we were doing the blessing, a very good-looking young man. And we asked him if he's married yet, and he said no. But we had a little conversation. He wants to be married. He wants to get married. So I asked him the very logical question. I said, what is love? You want to get married, right? You're going to fall in love. You want to find a girl and fall in love. Okay, what is love? So he said, he started blathering, blah, 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 the feeling and a good time, blah, blah, blah. pointless blatherings about what is love. No, makes no sense. Doesn't mean anything. So I had to help him, of course, because I know what love is. I know the answer. Do you know the answer? Do you know the answer? What is love? We gotta help those people out there. They need some help, right? What is love? No, actually, Father defined love very clearly, very specifically. Write this down on your little iPhones or whatever, if you don't do writing. People don't write anymore, but write this down. Love is the force that makes two into one. Absolute, universal definition, clear, succinct. You know what you're trying to do. You know what you got to do if you want to experience love. Two have to become one. So then that made me think, how lucky are we? How blessed are we that we can open up any book with Father's words in it. You can open up any book with Father's words in it, and you can read about love. You can learn about love. That 100K this morning, and there's just limitless words. So there's all kinds of love. Father always talks about we have to love God first. We love our parents, we love our children. But when we talk about love with people, most of the time people think about the most passionate love, the hottest burning love, which is the love between a man and a woman. That is the hottest, passionate love that exists. So let's talk about that. Father said so many things about love, we might forget how lucky we are to know these things. We might take it for granted. So let's read some of Father's words. Why did God create man and woman to begin with? The purpose was the consummation of love. The origin of all creation began with love. God's blueprint for men and women came from his thinking about the ideal form of love. This is a most astonishing fact. Love was the motivation for creation, and out of that motivation, men and women were conceived to perfectly give and receive love. God designed men and women to live a life of love, to be fruitful in love, and then to dwell in love for eternity. We come to the conclusion that we were born for love, and that our reason for living is love, and to grow toward the perfection of love. This is the purpose of life. Where can you hear anybody, anywhere, say anything like this? Why did God create men and women to begin with? For love. The origin of the creation, the blueprint of the creation is love. And what is love? Hold on. What is love? To become one. The blueprint of the whole creation, to become one, is love. Everything is created for love. Men and women were conceived to perfectly give and take love. We were created for each other, with each other in mind, to perfectly experience love. That is why we're here. That's why men are men and women are women. Men are bigger and dumber, and women are smaller and smarter and prettier. They get together and they make one whole. And of course, we come to the conclusion, we were born for love. And our reason for living is to love and to grow to the perfection of love. We were not born to conquer territory. We were not born to learn about how to build atomic bombs. We were born to love. Without human beings following this concept, what are we doing? We were born to love. The difference between me and an animal is I can love. Animals don't love. How about this one? Man is created to live in true love. And when he pursues that true love, both vertically and horizontally, he finds true fulfillment in life. Who wants to be happy? Who wants to feel my life is purposeful? My life is meaningful? Nobody? Any few people? Everybody wants to feel I'm doing something, and I'm doing something good, and I have a purpose for being here. Okay, what is my purpose for being here? We are created to live in true love, and when we pursue that love, we find true fulfillment. So it doesn't matter where you are, when you are. You could be a caveman living on subsistence, or you could be with Captain Kirk in the Starship Enterprise. Wherever you are, if you are living for love, if you're experiencing love between a husband and wife, and between parents and children, you are fulfilled. God is fair to everybody. No matter what your situation, no matter how poor or how wealthy we are, God is fair. Our life is fulfilled when we experience love. When a man and woman unite completely in unchanging true love, then they are each other's pride. A wife and husband want to be proud of each other. What a feeling that is, to be proud of my wife. I'm always proud of my wife. I want people to see my wife. She sits over here where you can't see her. But I want people to see her. I want her to be the best. I want her to be the leader of the choir. I want her to be talking or something. Because I'm proud of her. That's a great feeling, to be proud of somebody. That's somebody you love. Instead of asking the other person to serve you, you want to serve that other person genuinely, feeling that he is the best. How many times have we heard fathers say, serve people, serve people, serve other people? When you're serving somebody, don't think about what you get. Don't think about what you get. Get nothing. Just serve somebody. Just serve another person. If you get nothing, you at least have the pursuit of true love. You have the fulfilling thing. You have the lasting thing. You have the genuine thing. I could pick up that book everywhere and get the same thing, talking about love, things that people don't even think about out there, have no content, no concept of this kind of thing. So, the question comes, why would I want to be in this movement? Why would I want to be in this church? Why would anybody want to be in this church? Let's make a list. Experience true love. Anybody here want to experience true love? Right, everybody likes that. How about become a perfect person? I know many guys here are already almost perfect. I know that, because I was almost perfect too when I came here. That's how we feel. Who wants to be wrong? Who wants to say things that are wrong? Who wants people to tell them you're dumb? Who wants people to say you're wrong about everything all the time? Who wants that? Raise your hands. Nobody wants that. I want to be right. I want to be right all the time. Is that right? And I want to be perfect. I want to be perfect. I want everybody to think I'm a great guy. Is there anything wrong with that? Everybody thinks like that. Every human being thinks like that. So I want to become perfect. But who's talking about becoming perfect? Jesus said, you should be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. Jesus said that. It's in the Bible. You ever heard that in the church? They don't like that quote. They don't like that one. I talked to a minister. He didn't even know that was there. That's the end of the Beatitudes. That's the next sentence at the end of the Beatitudes. You therefore should be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. It's just the last line of the Beatitudes. They don't get that far. Why? Why don't they want to read that line? Because, of course, nobody's perfect, right? And least of all, myself. But God said you should be perfect. And I want to be perfect. Yeah, nobody's perfect, but I want to be perfect. But nobody out there has any idea how to be perfect. They haven't got a clue what it means to be perfect. So they don't want to bring it up. Because you can't answer the tough questions. What's another reason to join this movement? I want to live in an ideal family. Don't you want to live in an ideal family? Don't you want to come home and your wife brings you a slipper? Pay attention, Norco. The dinner's ready. Calm down. The dinner's ready. She appreciates all your hard work. She wants to be a total object anytime. Yeah, who wants that? Please. Of course. I want to live in an ideal family. We all want our kids to do what? Be the best kids in school. We want our kids to grow up exactly meets our expectation. Of course. We all want to live in an ideal family. Why else would I want to join this movement? Save the world. Everybody wants to save the world. Everybody wants to be a hero. Everybody wants to be a hero. Save the world. Another reason I want to join this church, to walk with the Messiah while he is here on this earth. That's a unique opportunity. That's a unique opportunity. If it's true, if this is true, it's a unique opportunity. How many people hung out with Jesus on a consistent basis? How many people hung out with Jesus on a consistent basis? Good. That's right, of course, 12. Their names are, where's my Catholic friends? James, John, Andrew, Paul. We know these people's names. Simon too. Judas. We know these people's names. 2,100 years after they died. We know these people's names who hung out with the Messiah on a consistent basis. And Father said, need this one. In your deep prayer and meditation, and in your daily life, you must be able to see Mother and me appearing, living with you in spirit. Some people could experience us not just in dreams and visions, but literally living with them, always beside them. If you could feel such parental warmth and presence 24 hours a day, would you like us to stay with you, no matter how old we are? Then you will have the ecstatic realization that you belong to parents who have eternal life. Your life will be connected to eternal life, to the eternal source, the unlimited reservoir. If you have had that realization, you are already living in the kingdom of God. Okay. So remember what we said at the beginning? People are not coming to church because they don't feel there is any benefit for them there. So how's that for a list of benefits? Experience true love. Become a perfect person. Live in an ideal family. Save the world. Walk with the Messiah. How's that for a list of benefits? Actually, I didn't mention, but most churches do actually offer one very clear benefit for coming to church. It's what happens when you die. You don't come to church, you go where? Hell. You do come to church, you go where? Heaven. But, I don't know. How do you know? Only one way to find out for sure, right? Nobody wants to cash that check yet. So it's not a very compelling benefit. But if we're going to talk about the spiritual aspect of this, what did Father say about the spiritual aspect? The reason we must die is our body's ability to love is limited. Our body's ability to love is limited. What is your body limited by? Time and space. You can only be in one place at one time. Two beings cannot occupy the same space at the same time. Your ability to love is limited by time and space. If we want to possess God's true authority as his object partner of true love, our limited bodies will not suffice. They're not good enough. We have to make the transformation to an incorporeal spirit. So, what does that mean? Think about that. The love we experience here, it's limited. We are already experiencing just limited love because we can't handle it with a physical body. When a man and woman become one, it's all-consuming. It's electric. It just dominates everything that happens to that person. And it's explosion of joy, explosion of love. But men and women become one just a little bit in the physical sense. They can't become completely one. They still occupy their own time and space. Maybe we can't handle what God calls love. Maybe we're just in training now to love. That we're just developing our love here. Then we get to spirit world. Then what will happen when a man and a woman who are not structured physically become one actual, the entire existence becomes one body. Maybe that explosion of love that would happen in that place, we just can't deal with it right now. We have to prepare ourselves. Maybe the experience of love that is in spirit world can't even be described. I don't know. I haven't been there. But wow, maybe that's what's going to happen to us. When animals are born, they can't see. Their eyes are closed because their eyes can't handle the light. They can't deal with it. They gradually get used to it. Then they open their eyes and they can handle the light. Maybe that's what we are. We're just getting used to the light, to the love that's going to become us, that we will be part of. Maybe that's where we're going. That's all the spirit world. I don't know nothing about that. Let's get back to the physical world. Father, when I joined the church, we had this big, my first God's Day speech, I went to see Reverend Moon. It was January 1977. I went there to be there at the speech, Reverend Father's speech. I never forgot this speech, the kingdom of God on earth and the ideal family. Just blew my mind. But Father said so many things about this, about life. Oh, I forgot. All right. Lost. Today in America, where are the many senior citizens, grandmothers and grandfathers? What are they doing? They are just wasting themselves in senior citizens' homes. They have a couple of friends, the sun during the day, the moon at night. watching the sun during the day and the moon during the night. They wait for the day of death. That's a pitiful situation. Father was so critical about the way we treat our older people. So when I had a chance, of course, I brought my mother to my house to live with us when she got older. And she got older, and she had no mind left. So then I had to take care of her. I would come home from work, 11 o'clock, and I had to clean up her activity there, her mess. So I would do for her what she did for me when I was a little baby. I had to clean my mother up. I had to take care of my own mother. I did that because Father said how we take care of our parents, our aged parents, how we take care of them. Another speech. Okay. I would like to recommend that you blessed couples stay together as much as possible when you have the chance, even going to the bathroom together and whispering love to each other there. Share the equipment together, and when you finish, clean one another up. Don't just sit there and think about that. Think about it. Would God look down and exclaim at how ridiculous and repulsive you are? No, he would be excited and uplifted to see such love. God's number one rule is that true love is absolute. And in that case, it doesn't make any difference where it is expressed. In the bathroom, in the garden, anywhere is fine. And that love will bring ecstatic love to God. So I haven't had a chance to clean up my wife yet. I took care of my mother, but I didn't take care of my wife yet. But someday I may have to. Someday she may get old. Maybe I have to clean up her every day and feed her every day. Or maybe she has to take care of me. Take care of me like a baby. Clean up me and feed me. That's a real expression of love. Father was he didn't like the way Americans treated their older people, the older parents. So when my mother was living with us, it was not always comfortable because we're not perfect yet, and especially my mother was not perfect. And she had tended to be more argumentative with the children, and the children were argumentative with her. And of course, I could have said, don't say that, don't. But I just let them argue. It's better for her to talk to her grandchildren. She didn't understand what she was saying, what they were saying. She couldn't remember. But it was better for her to talk to her grandchildren than to sit in an old age home. It was better for her to argue with her grandchildren than to sit in an old age home. So we made the best of it. On her birthday, we would have a surprise party 10 different times, and she'd be surprised every time. It was just, but the kids learned. What did the kids see? The kids saw my wife taking care of her. They saw my wife giving her bath. And my wife was, that was even more moving, was my wife's treatment for my mother. We couldn't take her out much any place anyway, but Noriko just liked to bring her some new clothing once in a while and put it on and see, Grandma, how pretty. Oh, yeah, that's pretty. And that kind of just little simple things that are the real expressions of love. So how about you young people? Are you planning on taking care of your parents when they get older? Whose fault is it that your parents became old? It's not like it's a big inconvenience. You know, people say, oh, we want our space. I don't think so. It doesn't cost much. It costs $10 to keep my mother around, plus whatever Norcos buy, little thing here and there. It costs $10. You're already cooking food for a family of 4 or 5 or 6. One more person costs just $10 a month. But they bring so many benefits. So we let Father's words shape our lives. But Father didn't talk about only old people. He talked about young people too, like very young people. I remember this. I remember hearing Bohi Park's translation. I never forgot this. Here in America, when a little baby comes out of the nursery in the hospital, he or she goes right into a separate room at home. The babies seldom sleep together with their own parents. Therefore, they cannot feel the warmth of love from their parents. They are very seldom fed by their mother's milk. Not sleeping together with their parents, the children are just like pets. You should not treat your children like that. It is a beautiful scene when a couple of children come and want to sleep together with their father and mother. It's all right, accept them. If there's not enough room, sometimes you have 1 kid is easy, 2 kids easy. But when you have 3 and 4 or 5 kids, the bed is too small. What do? You just organize a little better. One guy, one head over here, and one head over here, and one guy lives. Just get organized so you can all fit in the bed together. Look at God's point of view. Do you think God would say, well, this is my son's room, my daughter's room, my first son's room, my second daughter's room, my baby's room? Too many bedrooms would be needed. So, of course, when we had our children, absolutely, I knew my children would sleep in bed with us. Absolutely. And they did. And they slept in bed with us until they wanted to leave. We never told them they had to go. We organized a little better. The 2 older ones were out by 5 years old. The 2 younger ones stayed longer. Didn't matter. Didn't matter. So I remember many times I saw Noriko fall asleep with the little baby. That's a beautiful scene. She's exhausted from taking care of babies and I remember many times we made love with the kids in bed. I don't know if they woke up or not. I don't care about that. I had something to do there, but it doesn't matter. How do you think God felt looking at that family scene? Then I found this quote. I mean, you go through this, any book you pick up, you're going to pick up stuff that you have to think about. I found this quote in this book. When a husband and wife make love, even if the husband's father or mother may be sleeping next to them, it is fine. Even if they scream out when they reach their climax. I mean, it's one thing to sleep with babies, but it's very bold to sleep with, somebody who's an adult and knows what's going on here. But this is the Father's concept. How are we to relate? How do we relate to each other? We are one. How do we become one? What is oneness? What is the definition of love? Joe, you know? No, not one. The definition of love is 2 become 1. You have to know that. If you stand in front of any person out there, you know more than they know. If you just know that, you can help them. If you just teach them that point, you can change people's lives. If you can teach them one sentence, don't you believe that? How pitiful people are. Ask them. I've always dreamed being in a Christian church and getting up and saying to them, what is love? Oh my God, I would become a hero. I want to be on Jerry Springer's show. I want to talk about love. When all the insanity going on with these people's relationship, and I stand there and talk about love, the words I say, how many millions of people jaws would just drop to the floor and go, wow, if we could only hear this from somebody. if we just know what Father said and try to do it. So when I go to spirit world and God asks me, did I take care of my mother and father? I'll say, I did, and I'll get a passing grade. And God asks me if I let my children sleep in bed with us, I'll get a passing grade. So when I let true parents' words shape my life, I may be looking for true love. I may be looking to become an ideal person. I may be looking to live in an ideal family. I may be looking to save the world. I may be looking to walk with the Messiah. And because of true parents, because of this movement, I could do all those things. But something else, even more important, happened to me on this road. I got a bigger bonus. I got a bigger benefit than all that. The biggest bonus that true parents gave me was I found God. I didn't find a conceptual God. I didn't find a glorious God sitting on a throne in heaven. I didn't find a God who wanted to be worshipped by me. I found the God that true parents guided me to. A God who is in pain because his children do not know him. I found a God who is suffering because of man's inhumanity towards his fellow man. All of us suffer because of man's inhumanity towards his fellow man. Those Talmud people, as foolish as they are suffering because of man's inhumanity towards his fellow man. But I found a God who's suffering with us and who needs some help. He needs somebody to talk to, like me. And this always seemed like a God that is more real and approachable to me. Then when I studied divine principle, young people, study divine principle, I found out what I could do to help God. What do I have to do to help God? I have to unite my mind and body and become a perfect person. I have to unite with a wife and make an ideal family. I have to experience true love. I have to save the world. I have to attend true parents. Isn't this what Father told us? So I found out my list and God's list was exactly the same. So sometimes we forget how rich, how deep, and how unique we have become because we know true parents. When you talk to other people, you will know how deep and rich and unique you are. True parents are great, but you are great also. So God bless you all.